Hi, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Rise podcast with me, your host, Katie Oman, book coach, author, women's empowerment coach, if I can speak, and all around fabulous human being. I will put my teeth in, I promise. I started the Rise podcast because I really believe in the power of women's stories. I know they have the power to uplift us, inspire us, and empower us all. And who doesn't want a bit of that, right? So we have lots of amazing guests that we've done, and we have lots more coming up. But I have a wonderful woman for you today, the ever fabulous Sarah Marshall, and I am so happy that she agreed to do this with me today. So, Sarah, thank you, sweetheart. How are you?
I'm very well, and I'm very excited to be here. When you put that thing up on your social media saying, "Oh, does anyone want to be on my podcast?" I was right in there. Yes, very excited to do this because we've been friends for a long time now.
Yeah,
Although we're still yet to meet in person,
I know. It's like the
which
world of
just
social
seems
media. It's
I
fabulous, isn't
know,
it?
but I feel like we've been so intertwined in the last, I think probably 8 or 9 years, I think it is. And you know so much of my story, and I know so much of yours, and you've
Yeah.
helped me so much in various different ways. So yeah, I'm really excited to be here
Oh,
and
it's
chat
epic.
and
It's fabulous.
talk about
So,
my story.
yeah, no, for sure. So let's start at the very beginning. As I always say, I let my guests introduce themselves because no one knows you like you. So tell us all about you, what you do, who you are, all that juicy stuff.
Okay. So yes, I'm Sarah. I think I have quite an interesting story. I think my life as to where it's got to today is, yeah, I mean, one day I will write a book about it. But I have, if I put it into, I'm a mother of two grown-up boys. I'm an ex-ballet dancer. I was a professional ballet dancer. I've traveled the world with one of the top ballet companies. I'm a breast cancer survivor. So I was diagnosed with breast cancer in 2011, which was kind of weirdly, now I think about it, how the connection to you started,
Mhm.
because this is quite a nice little story, backstory. I was at the time living in a house in North Cornwall.
Yeah.
I'd moved out of London and I was running it as a boutique bed and breakfast. And I had a little holiday cottage at the back. And your mum got in touch with me, and she just said, "Oh, I'm looking for somewhere to rent short term because I'm looking for a house to buy down here." And I was like, "Oh, it's over the winter. Yeah, that could work well for both of us." So I said, "Yeah, come and rent my little cottage." And I think they moved in like at the beginning of the October or something. They only been staying with me for about 2 weeks when I was diagnosed with breast cancer.
Yeah.
And your mum was the first person I told.
Hmm.
That it's making me go, like, my tummy go funny when I think about it. I came back from the hospital, I got my diagnosis, and I was obviously shell shocked. And your mum said, "Oh my God, are you okay?" And I was like, "No, not really." I was like, "I've just been diagnosed with breast cancer." I was 39 at the time. And she's like, "Oh my God." And she went, to full on maternal mode. And she was just like, I hadn't even told my own parents by then. And she said, we talked and chatted, and she went, "There's someone I think you need to speak to." She went, "I've got this amazing friend called Barbara, and I'm going to give you her number. And I think she's really going to help you and give you some comfort and support." And I was like, "Who is this lady?" Anyway, she gave me Barbara's number, and I phoned Barbara. And again, I get goosebumps when I think about it. And I said, "Hi, it's Sarah." And she called me Angel. She always used to call me Angel. And she's like, "Hello, Angel, I've been expecting your call." And I was like, "Okay." She went, "Yeah, Liz told me you were going to call." And she just said straight off, "You're going to be absolutely fine. She said, you've got a rough road ahead, but you're going to be absolutely fine." Now, Barbara was a psychic, an
Yes.
incredible psychic.
Hmm.
I talked to her, regularly. We became quite good friends, and she never took money from me or anything. So she wasn't doing it, from a monetary perspective, but we just connected. And anyway, fast forward about 2 years, 3 years, and my life
Yeah.
did change dramatically in that time. I went through breast cancer treatment. I turned 40, left my husband all in space for about 2 months, moved out, continued to speak to Barbara, and then I lost contact with her, and then I think it was about 2013, maybe, can't remember.
Yeah, about that. About
About
that.
then, I'd lost contact with her, and I kept phoning her, and she didn't answer. And I was worried that something had happened to her. So I Googled her name because I knew where she lived, I knew the town she lived in. Googled her name, and what came up on a Google search? Your website came up as the first website. And I was like, okay, this is really weird. Who is this Katie woman? Because you didn't have the same surname as your mum, I don't
No,
think.
no.
Yeah, see? So I went on your website and there was a mention. This is when you just first started out,
Yeah.
and you'd mentioned Barbara as your mentor. And I was like, okay. So I sent you an email, I think. And I said, I'm
Yeah.
looking for Barbara. And that, as they say, is history. It's like we connected through Barbara having passed away.
Yeah, because that when she passed away, and of course, then I had to tell you that she'd
Yeah, and I
sadly
didn't know.
departed.
And
Yeah,
then we've just spent the next 8, 9 years, or however long it is now, 10 years.
yeah,
Yeah, being friends online, and sort of I followed you and I followed your pages and all of that. But yeah, so that doesn't really tell you a lot about me. But yeah, so from that, um, I went through breast cancer treatment, obviously. And then the next, I suppose, 10 years, if I'm honest, up until 2022 were, I call them the car crash years. I had a decade of just life stuff that I never dealt with, and I never dealt with my cancer treatment, really, my diagnosis. Both my parents were then diagnosed with cancer, and I cared for them. Probably gave up a lot of my life
mm,
willingly to look after my parents. They both passed away within a year of each other, just before the pandemic. We went into COVID. I at the time was menopausal. I wasn't even perimenopausal. I was menopausal. I was all over the place. I had anxiety, depression. I was in a very, very, really shit place in my life. And I couldn't understand why I felt so different
mm,
to my peers and people around me. And I went away to a creative writing retreat, which I booked very last minute in October 2022. And within 12 hours of being at this writing retreat, and I had no idea why I'd gone, and this is why I do believe in serendipity and things
yeah,
happening for a reason, because I'd booked this retreat 3 days before, couldn't afford it, but went anyway. I thought, I don't even want to do creative writing. Why am I going on a creative writing retreat? Anyway, I got to this retreat down on the Lizard Peninsula in Cornwall, and it was great, but it was a bit full on, and I wasn't in a great place at the time anyway. And within 12 hours of being there, at least five of the other women there said to me, "Oh my God, you've got ADHD." And I was like, "What are you talking about?" I didn't really know anything about it. Anyway, came home, did some research, got an appointment. And this was before, I know ADHD has kind of exploded in the last 18 months, but I got in time, I guess. Got a diagnosis. Um, and yes, overwhelmingly diagnosed with combined types of ADHD and emotional dysregulation. And it was like my life suddenly made sense.
mm,
And I have now spent the next 18 months transforming my life. It was like all the things, because like all the things that, I've, even the conversations we've had over the years, and I've had, phone appointments with you. You've done
yeah,
reading for me and all sorts. And, the one thing you would always say over and over again was about, learning to love yourself and accept yourself. And I always found that such a struggle, you
yeah,
know. And I think for me, I couldn't love myself because I couldn't accept myself because I didn't know
yeah,
what I was accepting. And getting my ADHD diagnosis meant that I could then learn everything I needed to know about it. And I just wanted to make my ADHD work for me. And I have done. So fast forward to the spring of 2024, and I'm just launching a new business. Actually, my website's launching this week, where I want to help other women with ADHD, and show them that it's possible to transform your life without the use of medication, because I'm unmedicated. I've done it holistically, just massive life changes. And I want to get people together in person at events as well. Because we spend so much of our life, don't we, at our computers and messaging and chatting and getting together with people. I don't think there's anything better than that. So I'm super excited. I'm happy. I think I can genuinely say that where I'm at in my life right now, which is why when you said, "Oh, do you want to come on a podcast?" I instinctively went yes, because I'm not going to bullshit about the fact that, oh yeah, I'll put on a fake smile, and I'm from where I was 18 months ago. I'm in a great place with exciting stuff going on. I genuinely love myself these days. I accept myself, my flaws, I suppose my ADHD quirkiness, the things that I struggle with. I'm super kind to myself, super kind to myself. Um, and interestingly as well, and I think this is quite common with people with ADHD when they get a diagnosis, that my inner circle's got a lot smaller. And I'm a
Yeah.
very sociable person, as you know. I love social media and I love sharing my life, and I have no qualms about that. But my inner circle's got much smaller.
Mm.
And I've got new friends that have come into my life in the last 18 months, most of whom have got ADHD themselves, actually. But to be able to be around people that I don't have to pretend to be someone I'm not
Yeah.
is amazing. They
Yeah.
accept me, they love me for who I am, and I'm just having a great time. I've been single for the past year and a half, and I love it. I love my singleness, which I could never say before. And again, you used to go on and on and on about me to me about, you've got to learn to love yourself first. You've got to make space. And I was like, I get it. I get it. I just can't do it. But now, because I love my life and the exciting stuff I'm doing, I'm happy. I don't need anything else in my life at the moment. There's nothing missing. So yeah, I'm really excited about the future. I'm 53 this week. Yeah, I
Oh,
turned,
wow. A
I know,
birthday for this week.
53. It's like,
Wow.
how's that happened? But yeah, so that's me in a nutshell, really.
Wow.
Yeah, it's quite an interesting
No, thank
story.
you for that. I thank you for that. I really appreciate your honesty and your authenticity, because it's one of my bedrocks. So I really
Yes.
appreciate that. And I think you'll see, I hate to use this word because it's so overused now and it's so cliche, but you have been on a real journey, right?
Oh my
So
goodness. And
when
I'm
you
still
think
on it,
about,
but yeah,
of course,
yeah.
we're on this journey for the rest of our lives. We know that. But when you think about the woman you were, I mean, how does it feel now when you look back at those photographs of you as the ballet dancer when you were younger? And what kind of emotions come up when you look at them? Because I imagine there's quite a mixed bag, I would think.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting really because I wanted to be a ballet dancer from the age of 5.
Mm,
It's all I wanted to do. Every little girl wanted to be a ballerina, and
mm,
I fulfilled that dream. Again, I never knew this because I didn't know I had ADHD, obviously till I was 51. But when I look back on my childhood, I was gifted and talented. I was top of the class at school, I excelled at academics, didn't really have to try. But all I wanted to do was dance.
yeah.
Dancing gave me that the creativity, the dopamine that I needed. And when I was diagnosed, my psychiatrist said to me, I said, "Oh God, how have I got to the age of 51 and not known this?" And I said, "How did I survive as a dancer?" And he said, "Dancing for you would have been the same as being on medication.
Yeah.
You were getting so much dopamine and the endorphins and your creativity and that ADHD side to me that is incredibly creative." He said, "You were fulfilling that without medication." And I look back now and I was top of the class even as a ballet dancer. I went away to ballet school when I was 11. I was always picked for the leading roles. I was Alice in Alice in Wonderland. I was
Mm,
Aurora in Sleeping Beauty. I was Juliet in Romeo and Juliet. I was, the lead role when I was between the age of 11 and 17. I was dancing with the New York City Ballet at Covent Garden when I was 12 years old. And um, I got to 17, I got a scholarship and I went to live in Russia. So I lived in Russia for 6 months, met my future husband, father of my children. And at the time, it's really, really weird because I used to look around me and go, I don't get why they're picking me.
mm,
Like myself, and this is very common with ADHD, my self-belief and self-worth were very low. I didn't believe in myself. And I used to have crippling anxiety, and that plagued me for the first 50 years of my life in a really, really bad way. My
Yeah.
worst panic attack I ever had, I used to get them really badly. My worst panic attack was during Act 2 of Swan Lake at the Albert Hall in the middle of the stage with 5,000 people watching.
Oh, bless you.
And I almost wanted to like run off, but I couldn't.
Yeah.
But so, and I was like, I don't get why I'm struggling so much and other people aren't.
Yeah.
I wish I'd known then what I know now,
Of
because
course.
the tools and stuff I've got in my little toolbox, as I call it, and we didn't have mental health support back in those days. We're talking about the
No.
1980s, the 1990s. You just got on with it.
Yeah.
You didn't have anyone to talk to. We didn't talk about mental health. We didn't
No.
talk about self-esteem. And dancing is a brutal career because it's so critical,
Yeah.
self-critical, but also from others. But I look back on the photos now and I say to myself, with the limitations that I had at the time because I didn't know I had ADHD, I am so bloody proud of what I did and how I coped. And I have an element of sadness because I I feel like there was unfulfilled potential.
Mm.
And again, that's very classic with ADHD. It's like we have the potential to be incredible,
Yeah.
but because of, you look at famous people with ADHD, and there's so many of them, so many entrepreneurs, and but you look, I know so many people who have the potential to be incredible, but they haven't been nurtured in the right way and they haven't
Yeah.
been supported in the right way, so they never fulfill their potential. And I never fulfilled mine, which makes me sad, but I can't change that.
No,
And I just
absolutely.
feel to love to help other people now.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. And then maybe, I mean, I'm a huge believer that a fate and destiny, and I think that
Yes.
everything is nothing is wasted. It's
No.
all transferable. It all adds up to make you the person that you're going to be, and in the position that you are most aligned with. And so that is part of your story and part of your journey.
Yeah.
And it was what it was, and you're able to take that experience and those skills and now utilize them in a different way.
Yeah.
Because one thing you're able to do is talk to people and present. Although you may still having, some of the nerves and stuff, you are not afraid to get up in front of people because you've done it, right?
Yeah. 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 Oh, I have no, yeah, I mean, that's, having been a performer my whole life, I have no qualms about, my social anxiety, if I have any, I suppose, is different to what a normal person would think social anxiety is. Um, and in fact, I'm it's weird. I don't really have social anxiety, I don't think. I can walk into a room and I don't find it hard to talk to people, as you can probably tell. But I love talking. I love verbalizing and all of that. But no, yeah, it's like you say, our lives, I think, are predestined. It's all
Mm,
written before we're even born.
yeah,
I believe that 100%. And if I'd had a more successful career, well, I wouldn't have probably had children when I did, and I wouldn't have moved to Cornwall, and I wouldn't have met your mum, and I
mm,
wouldn't, so all these things, they're all links, aren't they?
yeah,
And
absolutely.
I've had, even with my cancer and other stuff I've had going on in the last 12, 13 years, I've still got to live. I live in one of the most beautiful parts of the country. I have incredible children who blow me away that they're so normal, if there is such a thing, but they're so well balanced and grounded because they've been through a lot in the last
Mm,
12 years. And I'm proud of that. I think I've done an okay job with my kids, so that, and I would never have done all those things if my past had been different.
yeah,
So,
yeah,
yeah, so I look back on my life and it's been an incredible life, actually. The places I've been, the people I've met, the things I've done. Um, it doesn't make for a boring read, put it that way. It really
I think that's
doesn't.
the understatement of the year. So
Yeah, and actually, and if because we're friends on social media, I'm the most spontaneous person that I know, and I've got grand plans for the future that I'm not afraid that I'm going to put into action now. Like I'm starting my first proper business at the age of 53.
it's
Like
fab.
I've tried before, but I've never been able to do it because I didn't know I had
Mm,
ADHD. But I've got support around me this time.
yeah,
Um, and I'm launching my first proper business with a proper business bank account. And it's like, it's all, and my plan, because I've got a plan, I've got a vision board above me right now. I'm sitting at my desk and I have a vision board above me. And I'm obsessed with it, all things Italian. Like
Oh,
I just want to, I need to go and live there. I feel it's in my soul and it's in my destiny. And in fact, Barbara always told me that I'd be in Italy. She always said that. But my vision board above me, I'm looking at it. I've got a map of northern Italy with the lakes. I've got some printouts, some Italian words, and it's just like I'm surrounded. I've got Italian books on my windowsill here. So I'm manifesting it all, but I want to, not I want, I will
hmm.
make this business a success so
Yeah,
that I can afford to buy my little house in Italy. And then I'll go and blog and I'll do whatever. And so many things I want to do that I'm super excited about. The 18
absolutely.
months ago, when I
Mm.
was, and I remember speaking to you back then, and I was in a shit place, awful. Just self-medicating with alcohol. I was in codependent relationships. I was grieving my parents. I was, you name it. I was stereotypical, that woman, you know. But I just feel like I'm not her anymore. And yeah, I'm really proud of myself.
You
Really
should
proud.
be. You should be, because it's been, like I say, it's been a hell of a path so far.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things, isn't it? Like, I was chatting to one of my coaching clients the other day, and I said, you know, when you've been through trauma, when you've been through challenges or whatever it is, it's very easy to paint yourself as the victim of that. The thing
Yeah.
is that a victim, anybody watching this, I'm not being disparaging. I'm not taking away from anybody's what they've been through. I just believe personally that the word victim is very disempowering, because what it
Yeah.
says is whatever your face is still really affecting you.
Yeah.
For me, the word much more empowering word is survivor, because it didn't
Yeah.
kill you off.
Yeah.
You're still here.
Yeah. Yeah. It's funny as well. Like so one of the things I did do in the last 18 months, and it's funny as well because I obviously didn't want my parents to pass away, and it was, I was so close to especially my father. I had a
Yeah.
difficult relationship with my mum. Again, we've talked about that before, but I think my mum actually had undiagnosed ADHD. She was the
Mm.
most emotionally dysregulated person I'd ever met. Still loved her to bits, but we had a complicated relationship. My dad and I were like inseparable. But, my parents passed away. So daddy died September 2019. And then when I finally got my inheritance, when it wasn't a lot, but my little bit of inheritance that I got, I've used actually a lot of my inheritance I spent last year. I didn't work very much last year. I took a gap year from life. It was weird. I called it my gap year without traveling. I was fortunate that I could work part-time and I
Yeah.
didn't have to work full-time, so I used some of my inheritance. I paid for EMDR therapy. When you
Mm.
talk about like things that happen to us, when I had EMDR therapy, which was amazing for me because I processed my cancer diagnosis through
Mm.
EMDR, which I'd never done. I'd never had counseling. I never saw myself as a victim of
Yeah.
cancer. Even when I was diagnosed, the part of me, which could be part of being a ballet dancer, because we're very, I think we're very strong and very disciplined, and we're very
Yeah.
like, and I think part of it's ADHD because we're brilliant in a crisis.
Mm.
I'm great in a crisis. Like I got my diagnosis and I thought, right, I've got two options now. I can go and cry in the corner and go, why me? Or I can go, right, how are we going to tackle this?
Yeah.
And my surgeon, even, I had life-changing surgery, and my surgeon at the time said to me, he went, I've never had a patient like you who is so informed, so self-aware. I mean, I was emailing him like, can I take this supplement after my operation? Can I have this? I've done some research on this. When I had chemo, I was like hyper focused. That was the
Mm.
ADHD brilliance in me. So I hyper focused. And I never once went, why is this happening to me?
Yeah.
I just went, I want to get through this and then I want to put it behind me.
Yeah.
What I probably should have done was had some counseling or something or dealt with
Mm.
it, and I didn't. So having EMDR therapy, which involves the tapping and the
Yeah.
processing of stuff. I processed my cancer diagnosis and my treatment. Funny, one of the other things I processed was my need to be perfect and please and be a people pleaser. And that constant, especially in my mother's eyes, I always felt the need to be perfect, and I could never, be anything less than, because I felt like she was very critical, and I processed that. I've let go of the need to be perfect, although I still do over try with things. And I give too much sometimes. I've learnt to step back, and I've learnt to go, I've done enough today. I've done enough this week. I'm good. I'm trying as hard as I can.
Yeah, and that's the
Anything
thing,
can
isn't
happen.
it?
Yeah. I never see myself as a victim.
Mm.
Never, actually. Even when I got diagnosed with ADHD, I wasn't like, oh God, why is this happening to me? It's one thing after another. I just went, okay, how do we deal with this now? How do we, it was make or break, I think, for me from where I was at in my life. And I'm so glad that I decided to make
Yes.
the right changes and invest in myself, which I'd never done. Because
Absolutely.
I'd given to
Mm.
everybody my entire life. I'd
Yeah.
given to parents to try and be perfect. I'd given to my ex-husband. I'd given to all these shitty relationships with trying to be perfect and trying to be someone I wasn't. Obviously I've given to my children, which is the one thing that, you know, amazing and all of that, but no time for myself,
Mm.
and not caring about myself enough.
Yeah.
Now I'm number one. It sounds, and I don't have a problem saying it, but I am number one in my life.
Yeah, and that's how it should be,
Yeah.
and it's because it can still feel a little bit of like, am I being selfish? Am I being like,
Yeah.
self-obsessed? No, because like
I don't
actually,
think I am.
no, nobody is. That's the thing, it's the word selfish has become like a real negative connotation in our society. And yes, there are people that take it to that space, right? There are people, like any word in life, any concept, any belief, there are going to be people that take it into the bad space. So you get your narcissist,
Yeah.
you get
Yeah.
that kind of energy. But selfish as a word itself is not a selfish word, funny enough. It means that you are self-full.
Yeah.
You are
Yeah.
full of self, and you should
Yeah.
be, because, and I say this to people all the time, it doesn't matter where you go, what you do, whatever's going on in your life, you take you with you. Other people will come and go, right? Other people will come and get off your train. That's just the nature of life. But no matter what, you are stuck with you,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So why shouldn't you have a good relationship with yourself?
Yeah.
Why shouldn't you look after yourself? Why shouldn't you love yourself?
Yeah.
Because the alternative, as we both know, is not a great space to be in.
It's
Let's be real.
horrible. And I would, if I have one regret, and I don't have regrets in life because I think it's stupid to have regrets. You can't change stuff. But oh God, I wish in a way I'd had the courage and the knowledge and all of the, I don't know, to be able to do all of this stuff years
Mm.
ago so that I hadn't waited till I was nearly 53 to go, like, okay, here I am, this is me. I accept myself fully, love myself completely, even when I'm having a shit day. Because I still have the car crash days. I call them car
Of
crash days
course.
when I'm burnt
Absolutely,
out
we
because
all
I
do.
I burn out quicker than a Yankee candle. Like I am like, my burnout, that's an ADHD thing because I'm like this, and then I crash. I'm getting better at it, but I designate one day a week as a self-care day.
Mm.
Now, that might be a Wednesday. Doesn't have to be a Saturday or a Sunday in my world. I'm self-employed.
Yeah,
My kids are grown up. I've got an 18 and a 21-year-old. One's left home already. One's about to leave home. The other's about to leave home. I have at least one self-care day a week.
good.
And I go and I look at my schedule and I go, okay, because I'm doing some part-time work in the evenings at the moment as well, which is quite tiring. And I think, okay, I'm working on Tuesday evening, so I won't be home till 11. Okay. Wednesday, self-care day.
Mm.
That means I can do whatever I want. If I want to go shopping, I don't know why I would, but if I want to go shopping and treat myself or mooch around the shops, I can. If I want to go to the beautiful coffee shop in Launceston and have amazing artisan coffee, if I want to have a bath, if I want to write, if I want to go for a 4 mile walk, if I want to sit and watch 10 episodes of Friends back to back, I do it. And I feel no guilt. And I just go, self-care day.
Yeah,
And,
absolutely.
and I plan my week like that rather than getting to Friday and going, why am I feeling so awful? Because I gave and gave and gave and
Yeah,
gave.
absolutely.
Didn't
I
leave
think the
enough
rest,
space for me.
you're very fortunate to be able to have that day to yourself.
Oh, 100%.
Massively. And for the rest of us
It's
who
not
perhaps
that,
don't have the
yeah.
time, what I will say is to, so this is my diary for the week. I'll show you because it's sitting there because I'm self-employed too. So I'm always thinking about my scheduling with the kids. And
Yeah.
so it's important to schedule in the time for you in your diary, because I say this, so let's say you had a doctor's appointment, a dentist appointment, a hair appointment. You, unless, circumstances, something emergency happened, you'd make that appointment, right?
Yeah.
If you schedule an hour, half an hour for yourself, you're more likely to keep it.
Yeah, 100%. And
Right?
also, I mean, like you said, I am fortunate, my life hasn't always been like this, because I did used to care. I was a full-time carer for 2 people dying of cancer. I used to do 350 miles a week, and I had 2 small children at the time.
Yeah.
I was a single mother, and I was trying to work at the same. I mean, I have done the 18-hour days, and I've done it, I know what it's all about. And yes, I'm super fortunate. And yes, I can take self-care days now.
Mhm.
But even if I can only take a self-care hour,
Yeah.
you can only find half an hour or an hour. Everybody, I think, has got time to find half an hour somewhere. I mean, the amount of time we spend on these, I'm sorry, it's like we could put, people go, I've got no time, I've got no time. It's like, yeah, how many hours did you spend on Instagram and TikTok yesterday? You know what I mean? It's like,
It's about
we
you
all do it.
prioritizing, right?
It's
It's
about
saying that
prioritizing.
you are a priority in your own life, and at least you should,
100%.
right? And so
100%.
if you're constantly giving and looking, and even on social media, it's all about other people, right? So if you're constantly putting other people before yourself, that's the message you're giving yourself, is that other people are more important than you.
Yeah.
Right? And then we wonder why we're so messed up in the heads. Actually, like I say, if you're struggling, if this is, I guarantee you this is hitting a lot of people. This is really like, oh my God, I really wish I could. Start with that half an hour. Start with 20 minutes. Start with 10.
Yes.
It doesn't matter. Give yourself some time. And like I say, it doesn't matter what you do. Go and watch the TV. Go for a walk. Go and read a book. Go and have a shower. Go and make yourself a bloody hot chocolate. I don't care. Just give yourself some
Every
time.
little action. Yeah, it doesn't have to be a full day. It doesn't have to be half a day. You don't have to go off to a spa. Every little thing that you do and you go, it can be, it can be even something as simple as, because, I have a great daily routine now, and it's one of the things that I want to, help other women with, and kind of mentor other women with through ADHD and with ADHD. It's like, it's healthy daily habits, and they can be tiny. And it can be something as simple as, while you're waiting for the kettle to boil, you do some breathing exercises, in 1 minute. Just concentrate on your breathing for a minute. That's an act of self-love.
Yeah.
Concentrating on your breathing for a minute is an act of self-love. Getting into bed at night, I listen to some I have a great bedtime routine now. I used to have anxiety-induced insomnia.
Yeah.
Where I could, at its absolute worst, I'd get an hour's sleep a night. I'm not even joking. I'm much better, and I think it's because my brain obviously is constantly like this, but I'm much better at falling asleep these days. And I've got a great bedtime routine now, and there's some amazing on Spotify, say, podcasts. And one of them, I'm trying to think what his name is, but I found him on Instagram. Oh, I'm trying to remember what his name is, but his voice is so, it just resonates with you. And if you watch his videos, but his one line which works for me every time that I'm starting to feel anxious, or I'm thinking, am I out of my comfort zone? Should I be doing this? Oh my God, I have got that to do and I haven't replied to them. And he said that if you want to just stop the racing brain, you close your eyes, you breathe into your stomach, and you say to yourself, first of all, I'm safe. So I say to myself, I'm safe. And then what you have to do is, once you close your eyes, you say to yourself the words, what if there were no more problems to solve?
Wow.
You just say, what if there were no more problems to solve? And for me, and the idea being that it's supposed to clear your mind, just even for an instant, and it works with me every time. And I listen to these things before I go to bed, and that little 10 minutes I listen to before I go to sleep, an act of self-love. It's an act of
absolutely. I mean, even you saying that, you can feel the nervous system almost
Can't
go,
you? It
right?
just goes, it's like you breathe into your stomach, because I breathe very much in my
Your
chest.
chest. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so I have to think about my breathing. I'm studying a bit of breath work for ADHD. It's amazing. Um, but yeah, just repeating that line. And even you can even change the line, and you can say, what if I didn't know what my next, what is it? What if I didn't know what I was going to think about next? And I can clear my brain by saying,
Mhm.
what if I don't know what I'm going to think about next? And just for 10 seconds, I go, oh, and then I go, yeah, I'm glad I did that. You
Yeah,
know, like,
absolutely. It is that calming that racing mind, like you say,
yeah,
because
totally.
especially with the breath, I mean,
Yes.
most of us shallow breathe. Most of
Yeah.
us only use the top 10% of our lungs.
Yeah.
And yet that actually makes you more stressed because it releases adrenaline and
And
what's the other one?
cortisol.
Cortisol in
Oh,
your blood so that you're constantly
yeah.
on high alert, you're in trauma response constantly. And
Yeah.
then we wonder why we're stressed and our brain's like
Yeah.
so you have to consciously, like you say, make yourself do slow belly
Yeah.
breaths all the
And
way down.
also the whole like mouth breathing, I didn't know that so many of us breathe in our mouths. And actually the healthy way to breathe is through your nose,
Mm.
or to at least alternate. But so many of us
Yeah,
constantly, we're breathing in and out of our mouths all the time. We don't even realize we're doing it. But the
no,
minute you stop
exactly.
and think, how am I breathing right now? Yeah. Oh yeah, I'm all about learning the strategies, and love it. Love it. Yeah.
Oh, it sounds like you're in a really good space right
I
now.
am. Yeah.
It's and you come to a place of like I said, and we know that our journeys are endless and there's always more stuff and life and healing, and that's just the nature of it. But it sounds like you've come into a place of acceptance and peace with the person that you are, which I know
Totally.
feels like a long time for you to get
For
here.
me,
So
it's been, and yeah, as I said, I suppose because you have known me over the years, sort of and you've seen my journey and the amount of messages you send me, hang in there, things will get better, blah blah blah. And I know there'll be more. I think of it as peaks and
yeah.
troughs, like a wave. My necklace actually that I bought last year, and it's I don't know if you can see it, but it's got like,
Oh, cool.
it's supposed to represent waves.
Yeah.
And actually I've got the mantra above me. I have it on my vision board. In the waves of change, I find my new direction. And
Ooh,
it's
that,
so, yeah, and it's supposed to just sort of signify that life is like constantly, it's not linear, it's constantly moving. And
yeah.
so I'm sure there'll be things that will tax me in the future and try me, and stresses and all of that. But right now, yeah, I was in Italy a few weeks ago, went away and had the most incredible week of my life. Um, did a little road trip by myself. I'm excited about the future. The sun's shining. It's like,
Life is good.
I
Life is
think
good.
it is pretty good. I
Which is
think
a
it is.
really nice space, I think. It's a good
Yeah.
takeaway. It's just focus on the things that make you grateful and happy, because
Yes.
focusing on the stuff that's stressing you out is surprisingly only going to make you more stressed. Who knew?
Yeah. I know. And actually, we read all the time, don't we, about mindfulness and gratitude, and it's like, it's everywhere, isn't it? But actually, there's so much truth in it,
Yeah,
and like I said, I'm super fortunate, and I'm so grateful for everything that I have in my life now. I'm grateful for, my incredible children who blow me away, because they're just stupendous, and we all love our kids, but they're brilliant. My little house, it's tiny, but it's all mine. And
yeah.
I drive up to my house, along the road on this little estate that I live on, and I regularly drive up and I look at the house and I go, been through a lot in that house, but I love it. It's all mine. I'm so grateful. I've got a roof over my head. You know, I've got great friends. I live on the doorstep of Dartmoor practically. I can go be on the beach in half an hour. I can be on the moors in 10 minutes.
Yeah.
I've got this great new business that I'm launching that I'm really excited about. There isn't a lot to complain about at the
Good,
moment.
good,
I don't
good.
think at all.
Bless you. Thank you,
Yeah.
Sarah. I mean,
No, it's
seriously,
good.
it's fascinating, first of all, to listen to your story and to see that journey from where you started and what you've been through to where you are now. And I think it's incredibly inspirational. I think it's just, regardless of what the people watching this have been through themselves, I think just listening to you and your mindset and your attitude to life, I think is very inspirational. So like, genuinely, thank you for sharing.
I think, no, it's fine. And I think also, just to say that, I mean, I'm sure that, there's people in the world who, a lot worse off than even I've ever been, even when I had cancer or situations I've been in. And, and I'm very aware of that. And there's people going through stuff all the time. But again, it's a cliche. The mind, I think, is the most incredible thing in the universe. I think it's better than the most, advanced computer or anything. It has the ability to do incredible things, and you can transform your life. You really, really can. It takes work. You've got to be sick and tired of being sick and tired.
Yeah, I love that. I love that.
But it is possible, because if I can go from where I was to where I am now, it really is possible.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and that's why I can't wait to share it with lots of other people. And
fabulous. So for anybody who does want to follow your journey and connect with you, maybe if they've got ADHD themselves and going to reach out, where do we find you online? Whereabouts are you?
So I'm on social media at Life Less Ordinary. I picked that name because my life is anything less than ordinary. So it's Life Less Ordinary. And also it also means that I'm not neurotypical, I'm neurodivergent. So I'm not, don't have an ordinary brain. So Life Less Ordinary. My website is launching this week. So that'll be www.lifelessordinary.online. But yeah, I'm on Instagram, Facebook. And my events will be mostly in Devon and Cornwall to begin with. I'm launching my first one-day workshop at the end of June, which I'm very excited about. So if anyone is in the Devon and Cornwall area, so I'm launching some one-day workshops that involve connection, sharing, fun, lots of dopamine. There'll be a bit of cold water swimming in there. There'll be a bit of yoga. There'll be fun things to do, but mostly about getting people together and sharing our stories. And
sounds great. And I'll put all the links down here. So if this resonates with you at all, go and check her out. And I'm sure Sarah would love to connect with you. So thank you, darling. Honestly, this is such a good conversation. I really appreciate your time. Thank you.
And I will no doubt speak to you very soon.
No doubt. We always check in occasionally. So absolutely. But thank you guys for watching this video. I hope that you found it inspirational and empowering as well. And I hope that both you and Sarah have the most wonderful day. Thank you, Sarah. Bye, everybody. Bye-bye. Bye.